Hello everyone, welcome to Edwiki Learning channel. Please do subscribe to get more updates on Cloud and DevOps technologies. As you know, Linux is the must skill for a DevOps engineer as we are going to install and configure the DevOps tools on the Linux operating system. In this video, I would like to show you some of the Linux basic concepts which will be useful for a DevOps engineer by following a simple, funny assignment that I can find in the devopsrealtime.com. The complete URL of this assignment is updated in the description of this video. I will be going through the assignment tasks that are mentioned here, and I will be implementing the each deployment steps in the Linux EC2 instance in order to show you how we can achieve this particular assignment to get hands on dirty. As a prerequisite of this assignment, let me go ahead and logging into the EC2 instance which is already created in my AWS account. If I navigate to the AWS Management Console, I can see that the EC2 instance is already created. Let me logging into this EC2 instance, then I can proceed with the deployment steps as per the assignment instructions. Here I'm using PuTTY in order to logging into this EC2 instance. The profile is already saved. I'm just using the existing saved profile or saved session, and the key is already associated here, so I don't need to attach the key again. Now let me click on open to logging into this EC2 instance. Let me accept. The default user for the Amazon Linux operating systems in the AWS is EC2-user. Now let me navigate to the super user. As we know, root root is the super user in the Linux systems. I'm just switching to the root user by running the sudo. Let me clear the screen. Now I will go back to the deployment steps and I'll be executing all of these steps one by one. The first step is logging into the server as a super user and perform the below. I already logged into the EC2 instance as a super user, which is the root. Let me confirm that by running whoami command. Good. Now let me go back to the assignment again. The step 1 says that we need to create a users and set a passwords for 1, 2, 3. Let me go back to the terminal. User add is the command to create a user. Let me create user 1. Now let me run the command to create a user 2, then user 3. Now in order to set a password for these users, the command is passwd the username and specify the password. Now let me set a password for user 2. I'll set a password. Now let me set a password for user 3. Now I'll set a password for this user 2. Done. Now let me go back to the assignment. Now I need to create a groups called DevOps and AWS. Let me clear the screen. Group add is the command to create a groups. One group name is AWS. Let me run the command again. The command is group add DevOps. Now let me do the verification. The users that are created must be updated in the configuration file called etc passwd. I can see that the last 3 lines are updated as 1, 2, 3. Now let me cat/etc shadow file in order to verify that the password hash is already updated in the etc shadow file. I can see that the hashing password is already updated for user 1, user 2 and user 3. Now let me verify that the groups are created. cat/etc/ is the configuration file. Now I can see that the AWS and the DevOps groups are already created. Good to know. Let me clear the screen and proceed with the assignment steps here, right? The next step is change the primary group of user2, user3 to DevOps group. Okay. I will go back to the terminal. First, I'm going to run id command in order to verify the current assigned users, current assigned groups for these usernames. As per the assignment, I need to use user2 and user3. Let me check for user2. Let me check for user3. As you know, by default in the Linux system, when the users are created, by default, there will be one primary group will be added. The group name also will be the username. Will be same as the username, though the ID will be differ, or sometimes it could be a same as well, right? Now, in order to change the primary group, the command is chgrp. The flag for the primary group is -g and the group name. I wanted to assign this group as a primary group for the user called user2. Interesting, we got error. Why? chgrp is not a right command. We are modifying the existing user properties. So let me use usermod -g devops user2 id user2. Well, now I can see that the primary group has got changed. Now let me run the same command again for user3. Now id user3. I can confirm that the user3 primary group also changed to the DevOps group. Looks good. Now let me go back to the assignment. Now we need to add the AWS group as a secondary group for the user1. Okay. Let me go back to the terminal. Let me run usermod modify the user properties -a for adding a user group. Uppercase G is the flag to add a group as a secondary group. Now the secondary group should be AWS and the user should be user1. Now let me verify using id user1. I can see that the AWS is added as a secondary group for the user1. The primary group is again the default user1 group itself, as we have not changed the primary group of the user1. Now, what is the next step, right? Create the file and directory structure shown in the above diagram. Looks interesting. Now let me go back to this diagram and I need to implement this entire setup, entire directory hierarchy using the root as a currently logged in user account. Well, the home will be the default that is already exist in the root directories. So I don't need to create a root, but the rest of the directories are custom create. I just need to go and create all of them. I will be proceeding one in a sequence way, right? First I'll start with the dir1, then I'll be proceeding with all these levels. The first one is dir1 and then inside the dir1 f1. I can use the absolute or the relative paths at the time of creating the directory hierarchy, as in when we see which one will be convenient, we can use any one, right? So first I'm going to use the mkdir/dir1 to create a directory. Now inside that the f1 file touch/dir1/f1. Now I need to create dir2 1 2 10, right? mkdir/dir2 dir1 dir2 dir10 2 1 2 10. As I'm creating all these directories at one go, I would like to create the parent directories automatically. I'm using a p flag over there. Now I need to create a f3 file in the dir2. So the command should be touch/dir2/dir1/dir2/f3 file. Done. Now I need to create 3 and 11 in the next sequence. mkdir slash dir3 slash dir1, sorry 11, and as I'm creating multiple hierarchy of the directories at one go, I'm using the p flag to create the parent directories if not exist. Now dir4 and dir12 mkdir -p slash dir4 slash dir12. Now f4 and f5 both files should be inside the dir12 touch slash dir4 slash dir12 slash f3 and f4 file. Both are done. Now dir5 and 13 mkdir slash dir5 slash dir13. Let me use the p flag again to create a parent directories. Now dir6 mkdir slash dir6. Now 7 and 10 mkdir slash dir7 slash dir10. Yeah, this is correct. But since we have not used the p flag, it is complaining that the dir7 is not exist, right? So let me add the p flag to create the parent directories if the parent directories are not exist already. Now the f3 file has to be created inside the 7 touch slash dir7 slash f3, right? F3 done. Now 8 and 9 directories should be created. mkdir slash dir8 slash dir9. Let me use the p flag again to create a parent directories. Now f1 and f2 files directly under the root directory. So touch slash f1 and touch slash f2. Good. Now under the OPT, we need to create 14 and 10, right? mkdir slash opt slash dir14 slash dir10. Let me confirm it one more time. 14, 10. Let me use the p flag again to create a parent directories. Now f3 file has to be created under the 14, right? Touch slash opt slash f4 file. Looks good. Sorry, it should be f3 file, right? As per this assignment. What I do, I'll remove this slash opt slash f4 file. Now let me check one more time. f3 file must be under dir14. So touch slash opt slash dir14 slash f3. This is the right command, right? Now with that, the entire directory hierarchy has got created in the Linux system. Now proceeding further, we need to change the group of the dir1, dir7 and dir10 and f2 files to the DevOps. Okay. So first let me verify what is the current group assignment for all of these files and directories. Then I will be changing it into the DevOps. That makes sense, right? Always when you are doing some changes, plus first you verify what is the current state, then execute the command, then you verify what is the outcome of this. That's way we can easily understand that, right? The result of each and every step right and there. Rather you completing the entire assignment, entire steps, then you at last you realize that something is went wrong, right? Good. So here the 1 7 10. Let me clear the screen. ls-ld slash dir1 ls-ld slash dir7 slash dir10. Now the f2 file ls-l slash f2 file. So all of these are now currently having the group called root. Now let me change this group to DevOps. chgrp is the command to change the group of the file or directory. Now let me specify the directory. Now let me change it to /dir7/dir10 as well. Now I'll be changing it to /f2 as well. I can run the command one more time to validate the outcome of this. I can see that the group of this directory has got changed, and it is also got changed, and the F2 also got changed to the DevOps. Now we need to change the ownership of these directories to the user1. Let me do that. Changing the ownership can be done using chown command, right? And we need to change the ownership to user1, right? And we need to change that ownership for /dir1 and /dir7/dir10 and for the F2 file under the root directory. You can verify using ls commands in order to verify that the ownership has got changed. It was root before. Now I can see that the ownership is changed to the user1. All of these commands can execute only from the root account, right? Hence the reason currently I logged in as a super user and executing all of these commands. Now as per the assignment, the primary step is completed. Now let's see the second step. We need to log in as user1 and we need to perform the below steps. Good. So first of all, let me see how I can log in into the server using user1, because by default the AWS EC2 instances will be allowing only the key-based authentications. The key-based authentication will be working only for the EC2-user by default. Now either we need to load the keys for user1 or we need to enable the password-based authentications of your SSH configuration. Here, let me go and enable the password authentication for now, just to proceed with our next steps in my assignment. So let me do vi/etc/sssd_config vi/etc/ssh/sssd_config, which is the configuration file of SSH services. Let me do a little scroll down to find the correct parameter. Here I can see that the password authentication is no. Let me change this to yes. Save the file. Since the changes are in the configuration file, we need to restart the SSD services. Now let me logging into the server using user1. I will just go to the AWS Management Console to pick up the IP address one more time. Let me use the putty. I'll load the IP address. Let me change the font for a better visibility. And also I will be keeping non-zero value here to keep the session live. Let me open. Now the username is user1. Let me specify the password. Excellent. I logged into the server as user1. Now if I look into the assignment, right, this user should be able to set a passwords for user4 and the user5. Okay, so before that we need to create a users as well. Let me try that. As a user1, I'm trying to run user add command to create a user4, and yes, the permission is denied because the user add command is the privileged command that will be run only from the super user. This is where we need to take the help of the sudo permissions. Now I'll be going back to the super user account to grant a sudo permission for the user1, to which command I would like to grant a permission. So I need to give the permission for user add command, and I need to give the permission for passwd command too. These two commands are in usr bin and usr bin location. So vi sudo is the command to modify the sudo configuration for a specific individual users or to the groups. Let me run this command. Interesting. By default, it is using the nano editor. Let me go to the bottom of this file and let me add a syntax over there. So somewhere I can see that the existing syntax which is mentioned for the root. Now let me go there and add a syntax for the user one. I just have added the syntax here stating that the user one should have the sudo permission to run the user add and the password commands. We need to give the absolute path of these command specific binary paths here. And the no password is the parameter that ensures that when the user one is running the sudo, then it will not be asking for the self password for authentication. Good. Now let me save this file and come back from this editor. From the assignment, now I can see that from this user one, the groups also should be created. So what I do, I'll go back to the super account one more time. Where is group add command? And the group add command is in the user sbin location. So let me run va sudo one more time. Let me scroll down towards the section where the configuration was there for user one. Now let me add one more command to this existing syntax /usr/sbin/group add. Let me save it. Let me exit from here. Now let me logging into the user one. Let me try to create a usernames sudo user add and let me create a user 4. That's great. As a user one ordinary user, right? Still able to create a user accounts with the help of the sudo. That's where the privileged commands also can be executed, right? Now let me create a one more user called user 5, the 4 and 5, right? Done. Now let me set a password for these two users. Sudo passwd for user 4. Let me set a password. Now let me set a password for user 5 as well. Done. Now based on this exercise, we need to create a groups called app and database. Let me clear the screen. I'm using the sudo to run the command called group add and the group name is app. Let me run the command one more time to create a group called database. Excellent. Coming back to the assignment, the step 2 is now successfully completed. Going to the step 3 or the assignment sequence 3. Now we need to log in as user 4 and we need to perform these below steps. Interesting. Let me logging in as user 4, right? Since the password authentication is already established for these users, for this server, I can directly take the IP address and take a putty in order to logging into the server as user 4. I'll just increase the font here since I'm not using the saved session. Let me keep the session live open. Now the username is user 4. Let me give the password and I have logged in. Now let me look into the assignment steps. As a user 4, I need to create a directory called dir6/dir4. Let me try. Who am I? User 4. Let me run mkdir. I wanted to create a directory structure using the p flag and this is where you got an error. When you get an error, we need to validate that the permissions are not granted at which level of the parent directories. ls-ld slash ls-ld slash dir6 ls-ld slash dir6 slash dir4. So this is proving that the 4 is not already there. That is where we are trying to add a directory, but the 6 was there, right? If I look into the 6 directory permissions, which is the parent directory where I'm trying to create a directory, right? The owner has read, write X. The group and others are having only the read and X permission. In my case, the user 4 is trying to create a directory under this location, which is now become the others. Others are not having the W permission, hence the reason the permissions are denied. Now, the user 4 should ask the owner of this directory. Who is owner? The owner is root. So, the root user has to grant a permission to the user 4. Here, I am using the base permissions to minimize the complexity. But if we are using the extended permissions using the set facl, then it is even possible to grant the permission to the specific user only. But here, let me give the permission to the others. That will also give the permission for a lot of other users also, which will be not part of the owner or the group, but that is still be fine at this case, right? So I'll take this directory location. I will go back to the super user account. Then let me run chmod. I wanted to grant a permission. Which permission? I wanted to give the W permission for others. I'll say O plus W and specify the directory name. Now let me come back to the user 1 session. Let me run the command one more time. Now I see that the others are having the W permission. Now let me go to the previously executed command. Let me run this command. I can see that the mkdir is successfully done. Right? Now if I look into this, I need to create a file called f3 under the root location. Let me try that from the user 4. Church. Interesting. Okay, I'm trying to create a f3 file under the root. Let me see what are the permissions of my parent directory where I'm trying to create a F file. And same reason, the root directory, others are not having the W permission, hence the user 4 not able to create anything under the root. Again, let me ask the owner of the directory to grant a permission, right? So the owner has to log in, which is the super user account again, right? Now let me run chmod. Others should have the W permission on root. Now let me go back to user 4. Let me run ls command one more time to confirm that the permissions are granted. Now let me run the touch command. Yes, this is working. Now if I look into the steps, we need to move the file from this location to the so and so location, right? Let me try that. So let me copy the source location. Let me go back to the user 4. mv is the command to move the file, but before that, let me verify the file is there or not in the source location. Yes, the file is there. To move the file from the source location to the destination, the command is mv. Specify the source. Then let me specify the destination path. Well, again, I got the permission error. Why I'm trying to create a file under the dir2 location. So same process has to be applied here. Let me verify the slash. Let me verify slash dir2. Let me verify slash dir2 slash dir1, and I will be verifying dir2, dir1 and dir2. I'm checking the W permission, or at least the required permissions at all these different levels, 2, 1, and then 2. And I can see the permissions, right? So if I look into the dir2, first of all, slash, for the user 4, which is the others, for slash, I would need the X permission is there. dir2, I need a X permission is there. dir1, I need X permission is there. And the immediate parent directory should have the write permission, because that is the directory where we are actually trying to move or create a file, right? So let me take this target directory. Let me ask the super user to grant a permission for that. Chmod o plus w and specify the directory. Now let me go back to the user 4 and now let me run the command again. Well, so the permission is still denied. That's fine. Let me now check the source location. So much interesting and fun as well, right? Now let me do ls-ld slash, which is already there, ls-ld slash dir1. When we are moving the file from source to destination, the file is getting deleted from the source, right? So we should be having the W permission even at the source directory level. So let me take the source directory. I'll go and ask the root user chmod o plus w and specify the directory name there. Let me come back to user 4. Now let me try to move the file and it is working. That's the funniest thing, or the importance of the permissions in the Linux systems. Right, now let me go back and let me try to rename your file here, right, from F2 to F4. In the Linux system, renaming a file is all a MV file, right? MV slash F2 space slash F4, so that the file, when we are moving the file from a same location to the same destination, this is nothing but a rename the file. Let me hit enter. It's done. Now let me logging in as user 1 and perform the below steps. Okay, so I think the user 1 we already logged in. I just went to one more session here. Who am I? User 1. Let me verify the steps. We need to create a directory. Let me copy this directory. mkdir and specify the directory, and again the permission is denied. By looking into this location, I'm trying to, in the sense, user 1 is now trying to create a directory under the user 2 home directory. Though this is a home directory of other user, but still this is just a simple directory in the single system, right? So I just need to worry about the permissions only. So let me validate the permissions that I have in all of my parent directories where I'm trying to create a directory. ls-ld slash ls-ld slash user 2 slash home slash user 2 ls-ld slash home. I'm just checking all the parent directories where I'm trying to create a directory. The user 1, right? So for the root directory, the user 1 will be the others, and I can see that the others are having a permission. Then if I look into slash home, and I can see that the X permission is there. When I look into slash home slash user 2, the others are not having any permission. We need a X and the W permission at least to start granting the permission to the user 1 to create it, right? So let me run id command to see the user 1 is part of which groups. User 1 is part of the AWS group, but the slash home slash user 2, right, is part of the DevOps group. So obviously the user 1 is not part of the same group. He will become others. The others should have the permission. Who can grant a permission? And of course, the root can grant a permission, but right, it's always advisable to ask the owner of the directory to grant you the permissions. In this case, user2 is the owner of this directory. User2 has to grant a permission to you. Let me ask the user2 to grant a permission, right? So again, I just need to log in as user2 now. I'll take a IP. I'll go to PuTTY again. Let me logging into the server this time as user2. User2 is my username. Let me supply the password. By default, I just have landed into my home directory. Now let me run chmod. For others, I wanted to give at least the W and X permissions, and of course we need a read permission as well, because the user should be able to read or see the files at least, right? What is that they are trying to create. Now we need to give it for the present working directory. Now let me go back to the user1 where we got a error some time back. Now let me try to run the command again. That's it. Now it is working. Now let me go back to the assignment. Now let me see the next step. So we need to change we need to change to this directory. In the sense, we need to keep this as a present working directory. So let me take this and we need to do this in user1. Let me go to user1. Let me copy this structure. As a user1, I need to change to this directory. That's where I'm using the cd command. Let me clear the screen, pwd, and I can see that my present working directory is now changed. Now we need to create a file. This is the file that I wanted to create using the relative path method. That is where the tricky part, right? So I need to create a file in this location using the relative path method. Okay, interesting. So I need to create it under opt dir14. Let me take this path. Let me come back. Touch. This is the location, but I need to create it using the relative path, right? So currently I am in this location. So I need to go to one level parent, second level parent, third level parent, fourth level parent. Then it will be the path 1, 2, 3, 4. Hit enter. Again, the permission is denied. Let me see where the permissions are not working. ls-ld, let me check for the slash. ls-ld, let me check for opt. ls-ld, let me check for slash opt slash dir14. ls-ld slash opt slash dir14 slash dir10. Now let me verify. Currently the user1 is trying to create a file in this location, right? The slash is fine. Others are having permission. opt we need a x permission is there. 14 we need a x permission is there. dir10 we don't have a write permission because we are trying to create a file and the owner is root. Let me ask the owner or the super account to grant a permission for a user1 who will become the others. Hope you are following this nice lecture, right? Let me take this path. Let me go to the super user account. Hey super user, can you grant the W permission for others for this directory? Once that is done, let me come back to the user1. Now let me try to run the same command. That is done. I can verify this file using the relative path, or I can even verify this using the absolute path as well. Of course, the absolute path is so simple, but the intention here is to understand how can we use the relative paths concept. Good. Now let me come back and we need to move the file from one location to another location. Let me copy the file which I wanted to move to the user1 home directory. mv slash home slash user1, that is the user1's home directory, right? It's done. Now we need to delete the directory recursively. Let me take this directory name. Let me clear the screen. RM. Since this is the recursively, I need to use the R flag over there and hit enter. Yes, I wanted to delete. I wanted to delete. I wanted to delete. And somewhere permission is denied. What permission do we need to delete a directory? Again, the W permission. Let me verify that, right? So rather verifying, since we are trying to delete everything, whatever is there under the dir4, what is the point me checking the delete permission in each and every sub level? Rather, what I do, the dir4 is owned by whom? dir4 is owned by root. I'll ask my root user, hey root, can you give me the permission to delete this dir4? So as a root user, I can just simply do chmod. Others should have the W permission on dir4 as well as recursively for all the substructure. Now let me go back to user1. Now let me try to delete it. Done. So simple, right? Rather worrying about giving the multiple levels. Now the next thing is delete all the child files and the directories under this location. Okay, looks interesting. Using single command, and the difference here is it is only asking us to delete the child files. That means the dir14 remains be available. How to do that? Rm delete, of course recursively, because I wanted to delete anything under dir4 but not dir4, sorry, dir14 but not dir14. So that is where I can do a /star, so that only the files under dir14 will be deleted, but the 14 will still remains to be available. That's the magic. And of course the permission is not there. We have to give the permission. So let me see who is the owner of this directory. Root. Again, I'll go back to the root and I'll ask the root to give the permission for the W recursively. Now I'll come back to the user one. Now let me run this command. That's it. This directory will still remains be available. That is not deleted. Good. Now I can see that we need to write this text. Let me copy this text to the file called /f3, right? And save it. Let me clear the screen. vi/f3, escape I to go to the insert mode. Let me paste the content over there. Escape :wq to save it and quit. And the file is read only. I can't write it. So let me do escape :q exclamatory to come out without saving the file. Now let's see why I am not able to write a content to this F3 file. The F3 file is actually owned by a user4 and I logged in as user1 and the permission is not granted. So we need to ask the user4, hey user4, can you give the permission for me, right? ID user1 will become the others in this scenario, right? So let me go to user4 account and let me grant a permission. Let me see. Yes, this is where the user4 is logged in, right? Chmod, the others should be having the permission to write on this particular file. Now let me come back to the user1 one more time. Now let me run vi command escape I to go to insert mode. Now let me copy this content and keep the content here. Escape :wq, and that's it. the file is modified. With that, the fourth step is completed. Lot of, right? That's fine. So now as a fifth step, we need to log in as user 2 and perform the below steps. Let me copy this directory. As user 2, I'll go to user 2 terminal. Where am I? Right? And let me create a file. Yes. Again, the same issue. Let me see ls-ld/dir1, ls-ld slash who am I? User 2, right? User 2 is having the X permission to enter into the root. That is fine. But user 2 is, let me see, user 2. The user 2 is part of the DevOps group. The /dir1 is also part of the DevOps group. So I need a group permissions now. The group permissions does not have a W permission, hence it is failing. Now let me ask the owner. The owner is user 1. Hey user 1, can you give the write access for the group so that the user 2 can write it? Okay, copy this location. Let me go back to the user 1. Let me run chmod. The group should have the W permission and let me specify the target. Now let me go back to user 2 and run the same command. That's it. Now we need to delete /dir6. Let me clear the screen. rmdir, let's say. Well, the directory is not empty. Then let me do rm-r flag to delete. It's done. Now let me delete /dir8 as well. I'll copy this rm-r/dir8. Permission is denied. Okay. Let me see who is the owner of this /dir8 root. Let me go to the super user account, chmod. I want to give the permissions recursively for others, the W permission. Now let me come back to user 2 and let me try. It is done. Now we need to replace this text DevOps to a lowercase DevOps in F3 file without using the editor. This is interesting, right? Let me go back to user 2 terminal and let me show you the command. I just have copied the command. This is set command -i flag. So let me see the requirement. Wherever the DevOps wording is there, okay, and I wanted to make it as lowercase. Okay, let me specify the destination. Wherever it is matching the DevOps, that has to be replaced with the destination pattern on whole server, sorry, whole file. The file is /f3. Let me hit enter. Okay, so there's a typo in the thing. Let me do hyphen word there. Let me do hyphen word there. Let me hit enter. Yeah, it's all uppercase. Let me make it as lowercase. Let me make it as lowercase, and you hit enter. That's it, done. Now let me do a cat F3. Now I can see that the DevOps, it was O was uppercase some time back. Now it is lowercase because of this simple set command that I'm using. We can use set command, EDUeki command, or maybe you know the few other commands as well. But yeah, that is now suffice. Now let me use VI editor and copy the line number 1 and paste 10 times. Oh, interesting. Let me go back, clear the screen. VI/F3. Line number 1, I want to copy using YY command and key. Let me paste it 10 times. Pasting is like P flag. Let me do escape 10p. I just entered 10p, P for paste, and the 10 times this is got pasted. Let me do escape colon WQ to save and quit the file. Now we need to search for the pattern engineer, and we need to replace the pattern with a lowercase engineer in the F3 using the single command. So let me find out the command for this. So the command that what we did it already, right? We can use the same set command here, and let me use engineer. The destination should be lowercase, right? Done. Let me do cat F3. Now you can see that wherever the engineer was there, the E is now become a lowercase in all the places in the entire file. Interesting. Now let me delete F3 file. Copy. Go as user2 rm F3 file. Done. Now we need to log in as a root user and perform the below steps. Search for the file named F3 in the server and list all the absolute path where F3 file is found. Interesting, right? Let me go back to the root user. Let me clear the screen. Find is the command to search in the whole server, that is on the root level, and name of the file that I wanted to search. Name is the flag. I want to search for the file name called F3, and the result has to be printed. Let me hit enter. Now I can see that the F3 file is found in at least 3 different places in the entire Linux system, and the corresponding absolute paths are now printed wherever the F3 file is found. This is how we can use the find command to search in the specific directory, but since I have given the slash, which is the root level, and it is searching in the all the subdirectories level. Interesting. Now we need to show the count of the number of files in the slash directory. So I wanted to know how many number of files and how many number of files in the slash directory, right? So if I do ls-l slash, the root directory is having multiple files and directories, but I'm interested on only the number of files that are appearing in the slash directory, right? Not on the list of directory number. Of course, manually I can go and count it that there are only 2 files are there, but we need a script here. So I can just do that find. I wanted to see the list under the slash, right? And let me do hyphen type. I wanted to see the files, and let me print it. Interesting. It is going for all the sub levels to see or print the files, but we need to restrict it to the only top level root directory. So let me go for man and find command to see the right flag, which is restricting the search for the specific directory that we have mentioned, rather going to the subdirectories, right? And I'm showing you the ways how we can do some little explore in terms of identifying the right flag if you are not finding it one. The man command is the best one to dig into the number of different options that are available. So here I can see that the hyphen max depth, that is where we need to specify the number of subdirectory levels that it has to go on. Let me run the same command one more time. This time I'm just using a flag called max depth. Let me specify one over there. Now you see the output is limited to only the root directory, not on the subdirectory level, right? Once I get this output, I can just do a pipe symbol and can even do the WC command in order to count the number of lines that are appearing. That is how we can get to know that the number of total files that are available in the root location, right? We can even do this pipe, or we can even do like hyphen exec, and let me run the command called wc, and let me end it here. So it should be wc hyphen l. Interesting, that is fine, because we are we are not actually counting the number of files of the output. That is fine. So we can see this pipe wc hyphen l. This is working great for us. Good. So let me see the other one. Print last line of the file slash etc password. Let me clear the screen. We need only the last line, right? Let me run the command called tail hyphen 1 and the file name. It will show you only the last line of the file, not the entire content, like how you get it using the cat command. Good. Now log into the AWS and create 5 GB of EBS volume and attach this volume to the instance. Interesting. So I'll just go back to the AWS management console, and my EC2 server is currently deployed in the 1B availability zone. So I have to create a volume in the same availability zone. I'll create a volume of 5 GB in size, which is a general purpose SSD, and I will select the zone over there, click on create a volume. Now let me attach the volume. I think let me go to the steps to see what needs to be done later. Right? And yes, I need to attach the volume to the instance as per the instruction. Let me go and attach the, sorry, let me go to the volumes again, select the volume, actions, attach the volume, select the instance from the drop down and attach the volume with the default name. Now we need to log in as root user and perform the below. We need to create a file system on the newly created EBS volume. Good. So lsblk is the command to see the newly added drive name. mkfs is the command to create a file system. Can specify the type, could be a ext4 or anything that you like it. And /dev/xvdf is the absolute path to create a or mention the volume name. Now the file system is created. I can verify that by running file-s/dev/ right, the volume name. So it will tell that the volume is now formatted successfully. The file system is created. Now we need to mount this into a /data directory. Okay, I'll go back to the server. First, let me create a /data directory, then mount /dev/xvdf in /data directory. Let me verify that yes, /data is now mounted on xvdf. Now yes, we have already verified using df-h command. Now let me create a f1 file in the /data file system. Let me clear the screen. We can just do touch/data/f1. That file will be now created on your newly added volume. Right? Now login as user 5 and we need to perform all these below steps. This is the time to do the cleanup process. Right? So let me log in as user 5. I'll just go back to instances. Let me copy the IP address. Let me logging into the server. Let me specify the connection details here, and let me specify user 5 and the password. Now let me check the steps over there. We need to delete dir1, copy, rm hyphen r done. We need to delete dir2 rm hyphen r. I'm just mentioning the details, and somewhere I can see that the permission is denied. So wherever you see the permissions denied, let me ask the root user to grant a permission, right? Chmod recursively, I wanted to give the permission for write to this directory. Now let me come back to the user 5 and remove it. Done. Now let me delete dir3 rm-r, specify that, and yes, again the permission is denied. Let me take this slash dir3 and ask the root user chmod hyphen r o plus w slash dir3. Now let me verify again. Done. Now let me see slash dir5 as well. rm minus r, we can even use the f flag in order to delete it forcefully without prompting for the confirmation. Yes, again the permission is denied. Let me grant the permission here using super user o plus w. Now let me go back to user 5 and delete it. Now let me delete dir7 as well. Same process, rm minus ref. Let me grant the permission for this. Going to super user chmod hyphen r o plus w for slash dir7. Now as user 5, I wanted to delete it. Now let me delete f1 and f4 files as well. rm slash f1, rm slash f4. Done. Now we need to delete slash opt slash dir14 rm hyphen ref. Permission is denied. Now let me grant the permission for this too. Chmod, let's say hyphen r o plus w. I'll come back. Still having some issue. Let me check now. ls-ld slash opt slash dir14. Okay. Now let me do ls-l. It's an empty directory. So let me try rmdir. ls-ld slash opt ls-ld slash. Well, we are exhausted, right, by implementing a lot of different scenarios. We are trying to delete dir14. So the parent of the 14 is OPT. So OPT should be having the permission. That's where the OPT is not having the right permission for others. That's where the problem. So here, rather giving it for 14, we need to give the permission for OPT, right? Hit enter. Now if I come back and try to run this command, it should definitely work. Interesting. Now log in as root user and perform the below. We are now trying to delete all these 5 users, right? Let me go as super user, user del the username. Okay, it says that the user is currently logged in, right? So let me log out from these sessions. I'll just log out the sessions because the currently users are logged in. Obviously, we delete the users. So let me log out from them. Now let me run the commands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me see 2 again. Let me see slash etc slash psswd, and it's all deleted. I don't see them appearing in the etc password file anymore. Now we need to delete the groups as well. App, AWS, database, DevOps. Group tell AWS, database, app, and DevOps. Done. Now we need to delete the home directories of these users if they are exist already. Let me see that. ls-ld/home. I wanted to do ls-l over there. Interesting thing here is usually when you delete a user account, the existing the directories, the home directories will still be remains available by default, and I can see that here, right? But the ownership is showing numbers because the user is already deleted. So either you have to delete it manually, or at the time of you are deleting the user, you have to specify explicitly that the home directory should be deleted automatically, right? So for now, let me delete them one by one. rm dir hyphen r, let me specify /home/username, rm hyphen r. Rather doing this whole confirmation, right, I can just do a rf this time so that it won't ask for the confirmation. 2, 3, 4, 5. It's all done. Now we need to unmount the file system. Copy this, come back, df-h, umount. It's done. Let me verify that. Done. Now we need to delete this /data directory as well. rmdir/data. Now log into the AWS and detach the EBS volume and delete the volume and terminate a EC2 instance. We reached the final step, right? I'll go back to the volume section, select the 5 GB volume, actions, right? Let me do a simple refresh there. Actions, detach the volume first. Now let me do a simple refresh. Again refresh. Again refresh. I'm just trying to see that the volume is now became available. Now let me go and delete the volume. Now I'll come back to the EC2 dashboard and select the instance, and now let me terminate the instance as we have successfully completed our assignment. Sounds good. So hope this exercise will give you a lot of funny, interesting Linux basics for you to be expertise on the sudo permissions, base permissions, directory hierarchy, absolute, relative paths, VI editor, whatnot. The minimum must skill for you to have as a DevOps engineer. All done? Still not confident? Please repeat the steps. Enjoy. So thank you for your time. Please do subscribe Edwiki Learning channel for more updates on cloud and DevOps related projects.